again to the Open Discussion Podcast. My name is Janay Middleton, and I am extremely excited about today's episode. I am joined by a friend and a sister, someone who I have wanted to talk to for some time. And so I'm just glad that our schedules and everything were able to come into alignment so we could actually do this. So I want to welcome Miss Mrs. Actually, Jesus, we got to switch that up. Mrs. Amanda Cato-Martin.
Hey,
Everybody put your hands together.
everyone.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're able to be a part of the podcast today.
Me too. I am honored to be on this podcast today.
Oh my gosh. So I gave you like a brief, I guess, synopsis about what we would be talking about. It was around like wifehood, motherhood, and also building. Because people may not know, but you are someone who is really passionate about the builder. And I am also excited for us to dig into that as well. But for
Yes.
now, could you just give us a brief intro to who you are?
Well, I am a wife. I am a mother. I was a former teacher. I am also a writer. I'm an author, a self-published author at that. I
Okay.
just love all things building. I love being able to empower others to grow from their foundation, to be able to go through the restoration to make the impact in today's generation that they are created to make. But overall, I am just a daughter. I am the daughter of the Most High, living the life that He purposed for me. And
Hmm.
that's all Amanda.
We love this. um, I guess just to give people a just a look into how we actually connected. If I'm not mistaken, we connected through Instagram Live. Is that how
Yes.
this happened? Okay. Do you know the story or no? Because
It was during the pandemic.
okay.
I remember we were on a live,
Hmm.
and I believe Prophet Mahdi
Yeah.
introduced us. I believe
Yes.
also you had a book coming out.
Okay. Yes. The
Yes,
poetry book. Yes.
a
Okay.
poetry book. You had a poetry book coming out, and you were talking about it, and we ended up on a live just
Hmm.
talking about friendships. We talked about
Hmm.
different topics. But then from there, I was on your lives a little bit more,
Hmm.
and it kind of became like even though we were on live, it was just like the conversation flowed exceptionally. It was so easy
Yes.
to talk. It was so easy to be able to just be in a space and
Hmm.
be who we authentically were and just talk about
Hmm.
the things of Christ, but also, like, things that were going on in our lives.
Yeah. I find that this friendship seems very easy and not in a weird, not in like a like it doesn't take effort, but it's just it's free flowing. I don't
Yeah.
know if there is there a better word that you have for or no.
No, it was free flowing for me.
Okay, so we are gonna jump into just the conversation, but to basically segue into it, we can start with friendship, um, and just your personal experience with female friends, and also how your own personal transition into being a wife and a mother has shifted friendship for you. So if you
Mhm.
could just, go into that for us.
When it came to me actually learning about friendships, I believe it was a couple of years ago, I
Mm-hmm.
had to truly take an assessment of not just my friends, but myself. I
Mm-hmm.
believe if I am putting an expectation on another person to show up and have certain qualities, I should display them myself. It took me on a journey of assessing each person that God had placed in my life or that I forced to be in my life,
Uh-oh.
and then asking
Okay.
myself, why? Why is this person here? Are they calling me to be higher? Are they pushing me to be the best version of myself? Is
Mm,
this an iron sharpens iron situation? Or is this I'm condoning your actions in a season because I went through a similar thing and we're trauma bonding? And the minute I went through all these questions in my head, I started realizing why certain friends didn't stay in my life,
mm,
what I did wrong and where I miscommunicated or I had a false reality of what the friendship actually meant to me. I isolated myself a lot. I'm gonna be honest about myself as a friend.
mhm,
I
mhm,
isolated myself a lot. So I would give only part of me because I had a huge trust issue where I felt like if I opened up too much, you would use my information against me. And it
mhm.
took God having to place certain people in my life to help me understand if that's how you're viewing everyone, you will miss out on the covenant friendships that God has for you.
Absolutely.
And I had to heal. I had to go through some forgiveness. I had to go through humbling myself and admitting to myself, okay, I'm not the best friend that I could be right now to anyone.
Yeah.
I did not show up for certain people when I should have shown up.
Mhm,
And as I went through that and healing and going through all these emotions and certain things that I went through in high school, even and in college, I finally sat down and I said, okay, this is the friend that I desire to be.
yeah.
If I want a friend who is transparent, if I want a friend who is authentic, if I want a friend who will rebuke me when I know I am wrong, if I know I want a friend who is not going to let me stay in the same place, I need to work on that myself. And the
Mhm.
minute I started working on that, that's when God started placing people in my life, or He started bringing back certain people in my life, where
Yeah.
there was a season that we had to be apart.
Yes.
Was I heartbroken? Yes. Because in a sense, I was saying to myself, why isn't this person texting me anymore? Why isn't this person calling me anymore?
Mhm.
I remember one of my friends said, Mandy, it was just the season where a lot was going on and we needed that separation to be able to come back
Yeah.
because we were not going to be good for each other.
Mhm.
I also had to learn to be honest when certain friends came to me and they were going through certain things. I said, I can't handle that in this season, or I won't give you the proper response
Mm.
that you
Mhm.
need to hear.
Yeah.
Rather in prior
Yeah.
seasons, I would stay silent. I would say whatever you think is best. But then after my language started changing, because remember, healing has a sound. When you're healed, when you're going through the process with God, your language changes.
Mhm.
And the minute I had a conversation with one of my friends one day, and I had myself listen first, and then I let her finish, and I said, "You're wrong." And she was just like, "Wait, what?" I said, "You're wrong for that."
Mm.
And a part of me said, "I would have never done that before.
Yeah.
I would have never done that before." So it was me watching myself transition, and that not only helped me with my friendships, but also different relationships,
Mhm.
because I had to learn different people are in different seasons.
Yes.
How am I supposed to show up for that person specifically in that season? And I had to assess my inner circle, my outer circle. I had to assess coworkers. I had to assess people that I put in by accident and had to create some boundaries
Yeah.
and tell them, okay, this is the season that I'm in. I might not contact you anymore, especially when you get married. You might not hear from me a lot. I
Yeah.
am a wife and I am also a mother.
Yes. So talk about that transition because maybe things shifted for you once you stepped into those two different spaces or roles. So, what was that transition like for you in regards to friendship?
It definitely took a lot of grieving.
Mm.
I had to grieve. I am still grieving the
Hmm.
old self where I had to remember when I was single, I could go anywhere I wanted to go. I can text my friends. I can stay on the phone for 3 hours plus.
Mm.
We can plan all these trips, we can do all these things, but when I got married, I saw how much my friendships transitioned, where
Wow.
I couldn't really talk about certain things with them. I had to make sure I checked in with my husband first, or I didn't want to upset anyone because I couldn't show up for certain things where vacations were being planned and trips were being planned and they wanted me to come out and do all these things, but I had to remember being a wife, I have to keep a certain stature and posture where I'm not out here looking like I'm still single,
Mhm.
but I have the benefits of marriage.
Mhm.
I have to make sure I consider my spouse.
Yeah.
I am still, in a sense, I love to say I date him every day. I'm
Mhm.
learning more about him every day. I also had a long distance marriage. I had
Mm.
a long distance marriage. A lot of people did not know that. We were not together for about a year. I was in New York, he was in Texas. Communication is all I had.
Wow.
Communication. We communicated a lot. We did a lot of things on FaceTime where we would have date nights on FaceTime, and sometimes I had to remember I have to make sure I'm still communicating with my husband. Or I had to tell one of my friends, "I may not show up the same way I showed up before because there are other obligations that I have. I may not go on this trip because I wanna take a trip to see my husband."
Mhm. Mhm. So how did that impact the people, I guess your friends, when they were also learning to adjust? Because it's like a grief on both sides. Like you're grieving, but also your friends may be grieving as well.
Some of them, they distanced themselves for a little bit
Mhm.
because it was sad.
Mhm.
They thought, "Well, I guess Mandy's married now, so we can't really
Mhm.
talk to her when we wanna talk to her. We can't put certain pressures on her, or it's not the same. She's going to have to leave soon." I had one friend who we didn't talk for a while, and when we finally reconnected, I asked her, "Why didn't she call me?" And she said, "I was sad after you got married,
Mhm.
and I knew things were going to change, and I couldn't face it." And I told her, "Why
Wow.
didn't you just sit with me so we could have a conversation about how it would look?" And she said, "I didn't even think about that, to even communicate that to you,
Mhm.
because it was hard. Like, this was my friend who I've had for years. We were always together. We were always, we since high school, we were always together. We did all these things, but now it's like you're married, and then finding out I'm pregnant, it was a lot for her." And
Mhm.
she was just like, "Wow, I know things are going to change." And I had to go through that too, where, okay, I can't see my friend every day, or I can't talk to her for all these hours. It was just because when you're so used to a certain routine and now you have to create a new one, and now you're adding someone where now we're one. My
Yeah.
husband and I are one. And I was working full time now. It's like everything, it was so many transitions. I'm working full time. I'm preparing to move. I have this business that I'm trying to create, but I have to make sure my ministry first is my family, and
Right.
building and creating with him.
Yeah.
And a lot of my friends didn't understand that.
Mm.
A lot of my friends are not married. I was the first one out of the group for some of them to get married. So seeing that transition for them where, "Oh, wow, like, she's actually a wife now. Like, how do I approach her on certain things?"
Mhm. You know what I find, like, because I've experienced this with other female friends where there have been like huge transitions that have shifted the dynamic or the communication or whatever the case is, um, it's almost like I feel like there have been moments where I've had to almost start over with the friend. Like I have to relearn you. I have to relearn your personality because I think some of these things actually shift or change. And you can correct me if I'm wrong, but like once you have a baby, once you cross over into marriage, like things about you even change. So, how do we find like the space to create that ability to relearn our friends when they go through huge transitions?
First, it's giving yourself grace and
Mm-hmm.
other people grace. That's
Mm-hmm.
one thing I've learned becoming a mother is giving yourself grace. It's so easy to feel like you are failing.
Mm,
It's so easy to get into the trap of regret. It's so easy to get into the trap of shame.
yeah.
Becoming a mom for me, I realized I couldn't do the same things I did before, where I had the freedom to go to a grocery store by myself.
Mm,
Where now I
wow.
have to make sure I pack up my baby with me. I have to
Yeah.
make sure she has everything she needs, and where now my time is different, my systems are different, how I operate is different. I'm on
Mm-hmm.
high alert
Wow. Can
all
you
the
talk
time.
about, I don't mean to interrupt you, but
No.
can you talk about the first week of motherhood?
The
It's
first
the
week of
pause.
motherhood,
The pause for me is like, girl.
I cried in my closet.
Oh my gosh.
I cried in my closet and I said, "I don't think I'm cut out for this." I'm just going to be honest.
I want you to
I
be honest, please.
I said, "I don't think I'm cut out for this." But I had to wipe my tears. I remember my husband coming into the closet. He didn't see me. He was just like, "Babe, are you okay?" I said, "No. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Mm,
This is this is not me.
wow.
I'm usually happy, I'm excited, I
Hmm.
have my systems in place, I know
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do the first thing in the morning. I don't know how to function without lack of sleep. I don't know how to function making sure I'm taking care of you, but also taking care of the baby. I feel like I'm failing. I don't know if my hormones are all over the place. I'm in pain.
Mm,
I can't even lay down quickly as I want to. I have to take my time to sit down.
wow.
It was just so many emotions, so many thoughts, and I remember just watching her,
Mm,
just laying on the bed watching her and saying, "Lord, what am I supposed to be doing right now?" And the first thing he said was, "Rest,
mm.
rest."
We rest.
I'm someone who was always doing something. Busyness was a thing for me.
Oh,
I had to
yes.
keep busy. I felt like if I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't productive. Or I wasn't being a good wife, I wasn't being a good mother, I wasn't being a good daughter, I had to always be doing something, and part of me that's from my culture,
Hmm.
it's from my culture, where they feel like you have to always do something. You get up
Yeah.
at when the rooster crows, you're showered, you're dressed, you're eating your breakfast, you're on your way, you're doing work. Even when you come back home, there's something to do.
Hmm.
They don't wanna see you sitting down. A part of me felt like I wasn't
Girl.
like that, that I had the discipline to balance and still rest, but my husband pointed out to me, "You never sit down." I got
You're like,
offended at
excuse me.
I said, "I do sit down." He said, "No, you're always doing something.
Jesus.
You had a baby."
Mm. And you were still trying to move around. Girl.
He was showing me videos of certain cultures, how some women don't even go outside for the first 6 weeks. When I had her in the hospital, I was walking around. They thought I was crazy.
Amanda.
I had too much energy. The nurse thought this was my 3rd child and
They were
just
like, "This is a
gave me all the
phenomenon."
things they thought I needed and just checked on me once in a while, and I was good to go.
Wow.
But when I got home, I realized I felt unprepared.
Mhm.
My daughter came early,
Mm.
and being that she came early, it made me feel like I didn't do all the things I was supposed to do
Mhm.
because now I have this person that I'm responsible for, this life that I'm responsible for.
Yeah.
And when God told me to rest, I didn't have a choice at
Mm.
that time. I was in a excruciating pain, excruciating pain.
Mm.
I ended up having her early because I went in for an emergency appointment because I thought something was wrong with me. I didn't think I was coming out
With the
with my
baby.
baby. I thought I was
Mm.
just going there to help with some pain and I would come home, but I still had the excruciating pain when I came home, and it made me sad because I couldn't lift her at times.
Mhm.
I couldn't feed her at times where I dreamt of, "I'm going to breastfeed, I'm going to do all these things." And I remember asking God, "Why is this happening to me?
Mm.
What did I do wrong? Or did I have her too early? Did I not take care of myself when I was going through the pregnancy?" I had
Wow.
all these questions, and it's easy for the enemy to trick you.
Yeah.
It's easy for the enemy to put into your mind that you're not being productive. You're laying down, you're in pain. It's because you did everything wrong. And I had to literally dispel all those lies.
Mhm.
I remember every time I would say something, my husband would say, "Who told you that? Who told you that?" And I'd say, "I told myself that." He's
Mm.
just like, "Exactly. No one told you that." He said, "So that's the enemy trying to trick you, to make you think that you're not a good mom, to make you think that you're not a good wife." And when I had the call to rest, I literally had to sit down, I had to lay down, I had to bond with my baby, but also rebuild now myself and who I'm becoming.
Yeah.
Motherhood feels like a breaking open.
Break it
I
down.
didn't I didn't only give birth to a child, I felt like I was now exposed,
Wow.
where God was removing certain things or highlighting certain things about myself that I did not know before, and now I'm transitioning into becoming this new person, this new creation, where the old Amanda, who was not married, who was single, who was dealing with all these things, now becoming a mother, I realized, okay, I have to be more bold. I was becoming more bold with some of the things I was saying, or I started highlighting, this is not what I like. I started realizing where boundaries needed to be set that I did not have before.
Mm.
I started realizing where I wasn't taking care of myself
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally, physically. It was exposing things that I didn't realize I was dealing with that I thought I had healed from, but really I didn't uproot it.
Mm.
I cut it
So,
off at the bark, but not at the root.
mm. So motherhood was really like a spotlight on you.
It
Jesus.
is.
Well, it
And we're
is.
training
Yeah.
up this child. I'm supposed to train up this child, but how can I train up a child in certain things if I have not gone through it, if I have not dealt with it, if I have not healed from it? How am I supposed to implement these biblical principles if I'm still struggling with it?
Mm.
And luckily, I have a partner who is rooted in his relationship with Christ, who is able to help me to understand certain things about myself that he even saw being married to me, not just as a mom, but being a wife.
Mhm.
And there's this pressure of we have to have it all together. We need to be perfect. Sometimes it's a social media thing. I had to stop looking at social media because of it, but it was also the enemy's tactics against motherhood.
Mm.
to have you and believe that mom guilt should be a daily thing,
Wow.
to have you think that you should dwell on your mistakes, to have you think that, oh, if I'm going through this now, I think I'm going to repeat certain cycles in my family.
Mm,
Rather than, okay, if I highlight something that's going on wrong that seems like it was something in my childhood or it seems like it's something that's running in my family, if I'm identifying it now, what am I putting in place, Lord, to become a better mother, to ensure my daughter is walking in the ways of righteousness and understanding that she is loved and understanding that she has a purpose and understanding that she is seen and heard.
mm.
And it was the little things that taught me this. I'm just like, she's just a newborn, but why am I thinking about all these things? She can't even walk,
Mm,
but why am I thinking about all these things? And God had told me it's because you don't want to repeat certain mistakes or because you think you are failing. You're starting to pull up things in advance so you can try to put things in place so it doesn't go wrong. But it's going through the process with me, going through the journey, learning through the mistakes.
yeah. I You did mention busyness a few moments ago, and I want us, if we could, to kind of, touch on that. Why do you think busyness is such an addiction for, I'll say addiction for Gen Zers, for millennials, for even women? Why do you think that is?
Busyness is a tool of distraction, so
Mm,
you don't have to handle things that you have gone through in your past or in your present.
mm-hmm.
When you're not wanting to deal or handle with pain, it's easy to use busyness. "Oh, I have to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm gonna pick up this." When I started realizing I was doing it and I was called out for it, it made me have to sit down and say, "Why don't I want to deal with these certain things? Why am I afraid of this being
Mm,
exposed?"
yes.
Because it's easy to say, "I'm busy all day,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't have time to deal with it." It becomes an
Girl,
excuse.
girl, you like, listen, I am busy from 9 to 9, and then I'm going to bed. There is no time to adjust anything. That's
But
powerful.
when do you have time to navigate through the process?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think busyness is also a buffer um, for our process, because you just mentioned process. And so sometimes when you don't want to face the process that you're in, you may lean towards busyness so that you don't have to actually face the fact, like, oh, I'm actually suffering a bit. Like, I'm actually going through a little bit. This is hard right now. And I just find that to be very interesting, for sure.
It's easy to say it's more like a cover up.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a cover up because I remember when I first got married, my husband was working more than me.
Mm,
I was working maybe I would leave at 5, 6 in the morning. I would come back at 6 PM, and I would find something to do because I didn't wanna deal with the emotions of, "Oh, I miss him."
mm,
I didn't wanna deal with the emotions of, I feel stuck
mm.
in certain areas of my life. I didn't wanna go through the emotions of, now I have to move. Where do I go from here?
Wow.
I didn't wanna deal with those things. So after work, I was creating more work for myself. I was only touching the surface of when it came to reading my word,
Mm,
because at times I felt like God was highlighting certain things to
yeah.
me, like, "You need to deal with this. You need to prepare to leave. You need to prepare for where you're going next, what's going to happen." and I didn't wanna deal with it, and bam, I found out I was pregnant.
Jesus.
And then I started to try to stay busy with
Jesus.
that and saying,
Mm-mm-mm.
"Okay, I don't wanna worry because now I feel like I'm pregnant, I'm in another state, he's not here. What's going to happen to me?"
Mm.
Or there were certain things I didn't wanna have to go through where I ended up having an emergency doctor's appointment with her. I had a huge scare, miscarriage scare, and try to make myself even more busy so I didn't have to deal with that.
Mm.
Whereas the Lord will force you to sit down.
Talk about it, because he will.
He will force you to sit down. And that's the point where you don't wanna get to at times. It's it's difficult when you have to be forced to sit down because he creates such discomfort around you where now you have no other choice but to seek him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And if I say I'm not afraid, then I have to be able to sit down and have a real conversation, not only with God, but with myself about what is happening
Yeah.
and what necessary steps I need to take place. If God says call to me and he will tell me things that I do not know, that are unknown, things that
Mm-hmm.
I cannot distinguish, then I need to be able to speak to him and say, what am I not seeing?
Yeah.
Or what am I ignoring? And
Mm-hmm.
why am I ignoring it? Why is this so hard for me to go through? Or why don't I want to go through this process with you? Why do I feel like I have such control right now?
Yes. This is so interesting because I literally had a experience this past week where the Lord was inviting me to sit with him, to like come before him. Um and I was feeling like I don't really want to come to you. I don't really want to come cuz you trying to talk about stuff. And I'm trying to glaze over stuff. But when I came to him, because this is what was going on inside, I was feeling like, God, I need you to comfort me. I needed comfort, but at the same time I felt like I was not trying to get it from him because he would be going deeper than I wanted to go. So it was just very interesting how when I finally came to him, in my soul I was like, I needed it. I needed this. The very thing I was trying to run from, trying to disconnect from, was the very thing I needed. So just to add to your point of like, the Lord will invite you to sit down and to rest because he also wants to speak to you about the things that are bothering you as well. So yeah, that's, it's just powerful. Um, my other question for you is in regards to marriage. I'm not married yet. Coming soon. We're gonna prophesy that thing. But I can imagine that marriage is a mirror and that you are constantly being shown yourself. Like the Lord puts a person in your pathway who literally has the ability and the proximity to see things that people who are not as close to you, who are not constantly around you, cannot see. So, what has that been like to actually have a living mirror around you? Um, and what have you learned from being married?
The mirroring, it was upsetting at first. I would silently sit down and say, "God, why would you wanna highlight that? Why would you tell him that?" Or
Oh my gosh.
I would I would do certain things, and
Mm-hmm.
I would be nervous to see how he responded,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm just like, "Oh, I used to do this by myself."
Mm.
Like, is he going to think I'm weird? Is he going to judge me? And at times, he would look at me like, "No, I actually love you even more now that I know this about you." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." And one thing about my husband, he loves me. He
Mm-hmm.
truly loves me. Because at times you're scared to show everything about yourself,
Mhm.
even though he's learning me day by day by day, we'll at we'll go through this thing where we say we're going to over communicate. We will over communicate because it's easy for things to seep through when you're not giving certain information. Or if I'm
Mm.
not ready, I'll tell him, "I'm not ready to go through that right now.
Mm.
I know we're going to have to process it together,
Mhm.
but I'm not ready." But there are certain things where we'll stop and he'll say, "I saw this." Or I remember one thing that I had to take into consideration, being that we're one, I can't go off and try to handle things on my own.
Girl, I had to unmute myself because, girl, do you know for people who are used to doing that, like it is second nature to just, oh yeah, I just gotta do this, that, and that, and it'll be all right. That is
Mhm.
wow. That's interesting.
And it hurt my feelings when he told me, "You're not single. You can't just go out here and do XYZ and not even let me know you're doing it." A part of me said, "I've been doing this for years.
Mhm.
I didn't see a problem with it until I had to realize I have to respect him
Mhm.
and be able to sit down and say, 'Hey, this is what I'm going through.
Mm.
This is what I'm struggling with.
Mhm.
Can you work together with me?'"
Mhm.
And I found that when I actually did that, he actually was able to highlight things I did not see.
Wow.
There'll be times I'm seeing things from one lens, and my husband will see things that I missed.
Mm.
He will say, "But you didn't see that this person was a part of it, or you didn't see where you were wrong, where you weren't supposed to say that." I'm like, "I wasn't supposed to say that." He said, "You shouldn't have said that."
Mm.
Or he'll say, "Next time you need to approach it this way. It might have went better." Or at times he will just listen. I'll sometimes say, "Why are you so quiet?" He said, "I'm listening to you." I'm like, "Okay, but I'm expecting this." He
Mhm.
said, "That's because everyone around you is so used to telling you what to do and making you do certain things
Wow.
where you don't have to do that." He
Yeah.
said, "I can just listen to you, and at times you will know the answer. God will usually guide you to the answer, or I can help you
Mm.
process this." But it shows how much communication is so important.
Yeah.
And also understanding when you lack in certain areas, how your spouse is able to come in
Yeah.
and help you. Because yes, I am a helpmeet, and there are certain things that I know I can help him with, and that brings me such joy because I know, okay, he may not know how to do something or he may not understand something, but I know I'm good at it.
Mhm.
I can help and we can build together in
Mm.
this. Or if I'm doing something wrong, he can tell me, "Hey, that's not how you do something, but I've learned it this way. Let me help you."
Yeah.
And there's sometimes it's being woven together and where now we understand, like, we're able to balance each other out
Yeah.
in a
I
sense. Yes, I'm giving oh, god.
No, 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 go ahead. I'll let you finish your thought.
Yes, I'm giving my 100 and he's giving his 100, but we can complement each other in different ways. And I'm still learning that even today where I'm just like, "Oh, okay. He's actually very good at this."
Mhm.
I may have thought like I'm learning, but he's actually more better at this. Let me get his take and his insight on it,
Yeah.
and we can go together in doing it. And together, when I say together, it's not me doing it on my own or
Mhm.
trying to handle things or
Mhm.
put my 2 cents in things.
Yeah.
It's more of, "Okay, we're doing this together." I'm not excluding him,
Yeah.
but I'm helping him understand that, "Yes, I want you to do this with me."
Yeah. I just hearing you talk about your marriage and your spouse, what I'm hearing is like there is a sense of provision that is in marriage, because you're saying he's able to see things that you may not be able to see. He's able to provide insight in areas that you may need help with, and vice versa. So it's just amazing to hear and see that God also orchestrates marriage for the sake of provision for us to develop and grow and become.
Yeah.
Mm, that's so good. That is so good. So what are you looking forward to? What are you what are you expecting or anticipating, um, when it comes to marriage, when it comes to being a mother, and also when it comes to building, because you are someone who creates and you build, and you have so many abilities and gifts. Like the Lord He just dumped you with so many skills. So what are you excited for?
I'm excited when it comes to marriage. I'm excited every day to just learn
Mm,
about my husband.
yeah.
I'm excited to do life with him and learn how to continue to bloom in unity.
Mm,
I love being able to go places with him, to build with him,
mm-hmm,
where certain things that we may have dreamed of or we felt like this was our purpose before we were married, where I'm learning his purpose, I'm learning my purpose, and I'm learning our purpose together.
mm-hmm,
I'm learning how well we merge together. I'm loving how to enjoy doing ministry with him and growing in that.
yeah.
And in doing these little things and getting to know him and dating him more and more,
Mm-hmm,
even though we're married, there's just a beauty and a joy in that.
yeah.
And just being with the person, learning more about yourself and learning more about them and how we work together and how we can grow in the kingdom of God. Being a mom, I'm learning to just continue to give myself grace, but enjoy the small wins, enjoy the small victories, and understanding how to give myself a breathing room and a space
Mm-hmm,
to be able to learn how to raise a daughter in this world,
yeah.
how to create a relationship with her where she knows she's heard, where she knows she's understood, where she knows she's loved. That's the one thing I prayed for when I was pregnant with her, that she knows she's loved,
Mm-hmm,
that she knows she's heard, that she will have emotional intelligence, that she
yeah.
will learn how to go on a journey with Christ for herself and not feel forced,
Mm-hmm,
that she will not go through the things that I went through, but that I will be able to gain the tools and the wisdom to be able to teach her. So I'm expecting to learn all these things so I can be able to show her that, hey, this is what I did,
yeah.
but you are your own person.
Mm,
I want her to be authentic. I want her to be that joyful, bubbly little girl
mm-hmm,
who grows up to be bold, to be
yeah.
courageous, and to know that all that God has for her, she can have it.
Yeah.
But in terms of building, I'm excited to help others realize that in today, it is important to arise,
Mm-hmm,
it is important to speak, and it is important to build in every area of your life. Building is not just the physical construction of a thing, it is not just creativity, but you're implementing it in different areas of your life. It's a holistic thing.
yeah.
You're building your foundation in
Mm-hmm,
Christ. You're building in your emotional health. You're building in your physical health. You're building in your faith. You're building in your
yeah.
business. You're building in motherhood, in parenthood. And it's you being able to construct from having that foundation. It's
Mm-hmm,
you being able to assess. It's you being able to ask God, what do I need to prioritize? Where am I going from here?
yeah.
What's next? And then you asking me that, I'm just like, I love being able to ask God what's next and what do I do first?
Mm-hmm,
And watching how each each thing produces a layer
Yeah.
and creates the whole picture.
Mm.
In understanding, okay, yes, I have the dreams and I know the desires that God has for me, but now putting it into a blueprint to be able to execute it. It's easy to have a vision board, create vision boards and pictures and write things down. But now that I have it written down, how do I build upon a thing? How do I make sure I complete it? How do I stay consistent? How do I handle the opposition that comes my way? How do I handle the trials and tribulations so I can build the endurance and perseverance? Because that is so important in building.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of scattering, we're seeing a lot of things being torn down, where now people have to go through the rebuilding, where they feel like they have failed.
Yeah.
And I've experienced that where I felt like I failed or I got set back or I put things on the back burner. But I went through the restoration.
Mm.
I went through the healing. I'm going through the process of learning. So now that I can help other people as I have went through this thing and I've gained the strategy, I've gained the understanding, I've done the work. Now I can help you go through your process.
Yeah.
And I started creating all these projects, and I had some in the past, and I had to pull back out my notebooks. And I have something coming up where we're gonna go back to the writing desk.
Yes.
Where I had to pull it back out, and I had to go through the vision that God gave me. I had to ask him, "Okay, is this for now, or does this still apply to this season in my life? Do I need to make some changes?"
Right. Because some things expire.
Some things do expire.
Mm.
But even though it has an expiration, it doesn't mean that you were wrong or you failed.
Yeah.
It could be that God had to transition you. He had to have you go through some repairing, some reconstruction. He had to remove some things
Yes.
because we want to do certain things or we imagine, and that's where I had to go through the grieving process. I imagined I would have accomplished these things.
Mm-hmm.
I imagined I would have been here at a certain time. I would have been making a certain amount of money. I would have had a certain type of lifestyle. I wrote this vision, but God, I didn't see anything come to pass, where God is saying, that's not for this season in your life. Or if I gave you this, you wouldn't have stewarded it well or sustained it to the point where it can last.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I love about building, where God has shown me you have to continue to stick to the blueprint, but also understanding the blueprint first is His word. It's His
We.
word.
Yes.
And the word is alive,
Yes.
and the word has to come to pass. The word over your life, you have a promise, but you also have the instructions.
That's so
You
good.
have the blueprint. But in order to be a true architect, yes, you can have the blueprint, but you have to make sure you assess everything before you even go in to touch anything.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so easy to want to touch and rush
The temptation.
and start.
Yeah.
It is
Mm-hmm.
because I'm expecting this. I'm expecting it now. But if you truly inspected the season that you are in, you would see that God has to take you through the transformation of your mind. So you're not conforming to the things of this world. You have to be able to now be placed in a posture where you have to be before Him. You have to glean. He needs to be able to build up your stamina, build up your strength, because you may want that thing, but the things that come attached to it, you have to know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
Because with building, it's messy in the beginning. If you think of a demolition, some people feel like they have gone through a demolition where things are just
Yeah.
destroyed, where God has completely removed everything and they have to restart. But it's messy. You have to uproot, you have to clean. You want clean hands and a pure heart before you go into anything. You don't want to contaminate.
Yeah.
But it's cleaning that all up, becoming more aware, being able to remove the rocks, remove the debris. So now that you have that clean slate, where I'm not saying that you forget and remove everything and
Mhm.
just throw it away, because you should still use all those things to apply to now how you can move differently. But once you clean all those things away, it's being now able to start piece by piece, making those layers, building in your prayer life, building in your worship,
Mhm.
putting on your armor daily, growing in that mustard seed of faith,
Yeah.
becoming that watchman in your life. Because now when you're watching, you're more alert and you're more aware and you're more sensitive. God can give you the vision and you're able to see how you can bloom and when is the right time to release. But it also having the mindset and understanding that you're victorious, knowing that you are more than a conqueror, that no matter what comes your way, that you will prosper, you will succeed. And that's what I want people to know as a builder. I went through a lot of things, but I lived to tell the story.
Mm.
Yes, I may be transitioning and now I'm in this new space and this new place, but I'm still continuing to build in it. I can't afford to give up on certain things. And motherhood is one of them. I had to learn I'm not giving up in this thing
I love that.
because I have someone else that I'm responsible for. My daughter is a soul.
Mm. Wow.
My daughter is one of God's chosen.
Wow.
And I cannot afford to just walk away and leave her to figure out things on her own. But if God has given me the tools, yes, at times I may feel like, oh, okay, it's tiring today, God, but I'm asking God to infuse me with more strength to keep going because I'm going to move forward. And in marriage and in motherhood and building in that, I just have to remind myself God has ordained me for this. Motherhood is holy work,
Mhm.
marriage is holy work. It's not easy at times, but it's moving in the rhythm and the pace that God has given us. And that's what I want people to know. Whether you're building in marriage, building in singleness, building in motherhood, building in entrepreneurship, building in your faith, do it with God. Move in the rhythm and the pace of God, and you will not fail. You will not fail.
I love talking to you. You're just so wise. You have so much wisdom to share. I love it. And
Me.
I enjoyed this conversation with you for sure.
I'm so glad I was on today.
How can people reach you? How can they come in contact with you?
You can connect with me on Instagram at a.buildersnetwork.
Mhm.
I also have my website, which is also on Instagram. I like everybody to just go on Instagram
Right,
and click on the links
for sure.
and things like that. You're also able to connect with me through email at amanda.cato025@gmail.com. I also am someone who writes letters. I got back to that where if you are someone who is building and needs the encouragement, I'm starting to make sure I reach out and just connect one-on-one.
Yeah.
I also have a new mentorship program for builders. So you can check all that out, all the information. I just have it on Instagram right now. I'm rebuilding
Gotcha.
certain things. I'm rebuilding it for my audience to be able to get the experience that they desire but also deserve.
Hmm. I love that. And I want you to know that this conversation, I believe, is going to encourage mothers for sure. New mothers, uh, new wives to really rely on the Lord in their transition, to depend on God as they are adjusting and navigating such huge transitions and changes in their own journey and walk. So I'm so grateful
Yeah.
for you. I'm so thankful that you decided to come on here.
Mhm.
I'm like watching your own bloom and evolution, and it's amazing to see. And
Thank
I'm excited for what God has for you in the future.
thank you. I'm excited for what God has for
Oh
you, and
man.
especially this podcast,
Hmm.
and for all that it's going to do and who it's going to reach. I just love it, and I just see the development, I see the growth, and I see the beauty in transition as well.
Mm.
So I'm excited for you too.
Well, we thank you all for tuning into the Open Discussion Podcast, and we will see you next time.